Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is John Campea, and this is Open Mic. What's Open Mic? Well, you see, every day on the John Campea Show, Monday through Friday, we save time to take a bunch of live questions, but here on the weekend, that's all we do, all Open Mic questions, whatever you guys want to talk about, particularly when it pertains to the worlds of movies and movie news and things like that. That's what we're here to talk about, the stuff you guys want to talk about. I got a busy weekend ahead of me. I'm not going to lie. I got a busy weekend. I've been trying to get caught up on some of the Apple Plus shows. So when I was in the gym this morning, I had spent an hour on the treadmill watching the first episode of Morning Show. I wasn't going to watch it. I didn't have a lot of interest in Morning Show. But like what happens sometimes, a bunch of you guys told me it was actually pretty good. So I watched the first episode this morning. Not bad. Not bad. It's got potential. I'm not going to say I was thrilled with it. I wasn't, but it's not bad. It's got some potential. Let's see where that thing goes. Then we've got a Friendsgiving event out of town that Ann and I are going to leave after I'm done the show here for to go and get together with a bunch of friends for that. And then we've got, a few other things that I won't talk about right now. But I got a busy weekend, but a good weekend ahead of me. I hope you guys have a good, relaxing, enjoyable weekend ahead of you as well. So listen, guys, without wasting any more time, let's dive right into it and start getting to the questions you guys have sent in. And we're going to get things started off here with Logan James Kynaston, who writes, are you more of a Terminator 1 or 2 fan? That's a good question. I think both in their specific genres are two of the greatest films of all time. However, I personally lean towards the first, but I still love the second, thanks. And that's the interesting thing. Terminator 1 and 2 are much like Alien 1 and 2. They both have incredible first movies that are sci-fi based, but lean towards, some cases pretty heavily, being a part really more of the horror genre than anything else. Then they both put out sequels that are both dynamite sci-fi action films more than they are horror. Both still maintain an element of horror to them, yes, but they really go full gusto into the action element, and they're two of the best action films of all time. So the similarities between Terminator 1 and 2 and Alien 1 or 2 are kind of freaky. And I lean, when it comes to Terminator, I lean the same way that I lean in Aliens. I lean towards the second film. Now, that's really more of a commentary, I think, on my personal tastes when it comes to, I love good big action spectacle. And when you can do great big action spectacle within a very excellently made movie that also has great characters and great story, like Terminator 2 and Aliens does, then you get something really special. And so, yes, I myself, I've got a number of friends who lean towards number 1 instead of number 2. But what I normally find, what is interesting, is most people are like me in the sense that if they prefer one of Terminator, they also prefer one of Alien. And if they prefer number 2 of Terminator, like I do, then they also seem to prefer the second Alien film, Aliens. So I think it's really a distinction of our personal taste. But anyway, they're both fabulous movie, amongst the greatest in both of their genres. But that's how I personally lean. Great question, Logan. I like that a lot. All right, Hector Jeter writes, but why male models? One of the great moments in one of my favorite comedies, Zoolander. So, but why male models? And David Duchovny gives this 5-minute speech about why they've always used male models. And then he goes back to Derek, but why male models? Are you serious? I just explained. It's one of the great, now, we've seen a lot of comedies mimic that same joke, but still, it's an amazing moment in that movie. All right, Kenneth Colton writes, we made it to the weekend, Gio. Yes, indeed we have, my friend. I just wanted to say thanks for all the hard work and congrats on the upcoming milestones. Thank you so much. Well earned, Captain Candia. So first of all, Kenneth, thank you so much, buddy. The milestones that Kenneth is referring to is that within the next, maybe I said 45 to 60 days, probably more like within the next 30 to 45 days, the John Campea YouTube channel is going to cross, look, compared to actual big YouTube channels, they're completely inconsequential numbers. They're tiny by comparison to a lot of channels. It doesn't matter. But for me, it's significant. The two milestones that we're about to cross are, we're about to hit 200,000 subscribers, which is great. Again, super tiny. It's insignificant compared to bigger real YouTube channels. But I was just told very often I would never get here. But so 200,000 subscribers. And we're about to also cross, the channel is about to cross 100 million views. again, I've got some friends of mine that have a YouTube channel that make that that get that many views in, a month and a half. So it's really a tiny number compared to a lot of others. But for me, it's really rather significant. And I'm very excited about it. And I think actually in January, I announced this the other day, in January, I'm going to plan a 100 million view party here in the Los Angeles area. And once I figure out all the details, I'll share them with you guys. So if any of you guys are in or around the LA area and you might want to come to the 100 million view party, I'll let you know how to attend that. But thank you so much, Kenneth. Again, I understand these are inconsequential, insignificant numbers compared to a lot. But for me, I'm very proud of the numbers and I'm very proud of those milestones. So anyway, thank you for sharing that, Kenneth, and I appreciate that, dude. All right. Ivan Gonzalez writes, "Hey, John, watched Jojo Rabbit yesterday. The movie is amazing. Loved everyone. You have to see it." Well, I've been talking a lot about that movie. I've been talking a lot about Jojo. I've already seen it. It is actually, as of right now, my number one film of the year. But at any rate, you have to see it. You're going to love it. I was also higher than a kite, but Taika Waititi was amazing. My favorite movie of the year. Yeah, now I don't know if it's going to end up as my favorite movie of the year by the end of the year because we still have, Irishman is coming out. We still have Knives Out coming out. I still have to see Marriage Story. There's still a number of big films that have that potential to maybe be the number one film of the year. But as of right now, my favorite films of the year are number 1, Jojo Rabbit. Number 2, Parasite. Number 3, The Farewell. Number 4 is Four V'd Ferrari. And tied in the number 5 spot is Booksmart and Joker. They won't be tied at the end of the year. I'll sort out my actual list, but that's just my preliminary list right now. Jojo Rabbit is brilliant, man. I knew Taika Waititi was good because, we've seen Thor Ragnarok. We've seen What We Do in the Shadows. We've seen Wilder People. Like, we've seen these movies. I didn't know he was capable of being this good, about having so much heart and so much emotion and so much heavy stuff within the container of something very lighthearted and enjoyable that we can laugh, because if we weren't laughing, we'd be crying. You know what I mean? And it's just a remarkable accomplishment. I completely agree with you, Ivan. All right. Adam Henson writes, was reading about the French Grand Prix racer Jean Pierre Wimille, who joined the French resistance during World War II and thinking that this would make a great movie. I know very, very little about autocar racing. I know Mario Andretti. That's it. I know the name Mario Andretti and Danica Patrick. That's it. Those are the names I know because they're pop cultural icon names. So I've never heard of the gentleman, but that sounds cool. A sports star who secretly joined a World War II resistance. That sounds intriguing to me. If the rest of the story was interesting, I'd be all for it. All right, let's see here. Darklock63 writes, I suggest waiting a bit for Red Dead Redemption 2. Oh, really? There are multiple reports of the PC version freezing and crashing. So what Darklock is, thank you for the update on that, Darklock. I appreciate that. Is now that Red Dead Redemption 2 is out on PC, I was planning on buying it and start playing it because I got it with my PlayStation Pro. When I bought my PlayStation Pro, it came with Red Dead Redemption 2. But my brain is not wired to use these stupid console controllers, so I gave up on the game after about 5 minutes. So I've been really excited about the idea of it coming to PC. But thank you for that update. Okay, I'll give it a beat. I'll wait a couple of weeks and see how that turns out. It's okay. I got Jedi Fallen Order coming anyway, so that's fine. Thank you for the update, Darklock. All right, James Welsh writes, do you think Titanic's 15 consecutive weekends at number 1 record will be broken? Never going to be broken. Not in this day and age. No chance. No chance in hell. Listen, we freak out and lose our minds when a movie hits 4 weeks in a row at number 1. Like that happens very rarely anymore. And let alone 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. No, never going to happen again. Never, ever, ever will that happen again. Too many, because here's the thing. We more and more, the movie-going habits of people have become very front-end loaded. The vast majority of people today who want to see a movie go see it opening weekend now. That's scientific fact. That's been the statistics are there. That's proven. That's when more people. Now it's always been that way that most people want to see things opening weekend. But as over the last couple of years, more and more we see that a heavier number of the chunk of the money that a movie makes is its opening weekend, particularly in its first 2 weeks. And then with more and more movies coming out every week now, it's next to impossible. No, it's not next. I'm going to say it's absolutely impossible. You know, I say never all the time, but on this, I'll say it will never happen. You will never get a movie that's number one at the box office more than like, say, 9 weeks in a row. I really don't think so. It's just the patterns just don't support it. So now watch. I don't know. Knives Out or Star Wars Episode 9 or some immediately coming out movie is number one for, but I know it's really not going to happen. All right. Superman Steve writes, John, have you seen the movie Wolf Creek? I have seen the movie Wolf Creek. I didn't particularly like the movie Wolf Creek, but that's all right. I met the main actor from it yesterday, John Jarrett. It was incredible. Also met John Travolta. Was that at some sort of convention that you were at? Listen, say what you will about John Travolta and the unbelievable historic cold streak that his career is on. He's still John Travolta. He has been in some of our favorite movies, and I've enjoyed him in many, many things. That would be a cool guy to meet. I would love to meet John Travolta. Honestly, I really, really would someday. I've never met John Travolta. All right, Benny95 writes, thoughts on The Mule with Clint Eastwood. Great film. Here's the thing about The Mule. It wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be because, you know, it's Clint Eastwood directing Bradley Cooper and himself in it as well. So I was kind of thinking best movie of the year material, right? And it's very good. I thought it was very, very solid. Just didn't quite get to the expectations that I had. But that's more on me than anything else, Benny. Russell Amador writes, hey, John, the world's greatest detective, Scooby Doo, will make his triumphant return to theaters in 2020. How pumped are you for this? Zoinks. I am not going to lie to you, Russell. I have none's enthusiasm. Behold my enthusiasm and see how there is none. I have no enthusiasm for Scooby-Doo. None. Now, you cross Scooby-Doo with Supernatural, that's a match made in heaven. I can get behind that. But yeah, I'm not going to lie, man. I have absolutely zero interest in that. Now that could be a good thing because, you know, we were just talking about The Mule that, you know, my expectations were so high that even though it was quite good, I still came out, not overwhelmed. If Scooby-Doo can at least manage to be pretty decent, I'll probably come out of it pretty happy. So, but as of right now, behold my enthusiasm for Scooby-Doo and see ye how there is none. I have no enthusiasm for Scooby-Doo right now. Lee Crow writes, saw Midway last night. Liked it way more than most critics, 7 out of 10. The aerial bombing scenes were amazing. Emmerich reminds me of Lucas. The acting isn't great, but the visuals are wonderful. And you know what? Lee, I had a couple of my friends mention to me that they didn't mind it. They actually said they actually had an all right time. They had a pretty good time. So I was dying to see it. Then I saw the first responses from it, and the fact that the studio itself had no faith in it and withheld the reviews back until the day before the movie came out, which is never a good sign. And so I lost all my enthusiasm to go see it. But I'm hearing from some people, it's like, yeah, it's pretty dumb. This is what my friend is telling me. Yeah, it's pretty dumb. It's not very good. But it's definitely got fun stuff to it with the aerial battles and stuff like that. I thought, you know what? I might take myself out to see it anyway. Just might. Thanks for the recommendation, Lee. I appreciate that. All right, Benny95 writes, hey, John, I hope you're well and having a great weekend ahead. I am, thank you. I just rewatched the Lion King remake with my family, and I enjoyed it more the second time. However, it still lacked emotional impact for us due to the lack of facial expression, but also the voice acting for certain characters like Scar and Nala. I'm going to 100% disagree with you on the Scar part. I thought Chiwetel Ejiofor as the voice of Scar was, dare I say, even better. Now, don't get me wrong. I would not have been against Jeremy Irons doing the voice of Scar in the new movie at all. I would have been all for that. But after hearing Chiwetel Ejiofor was a better match for Scar in a CG photorealistic version of it. Like, I still prefer Jeremy Irons' Scar in the original 94 version, for sure, obviously. But you know, I was watching this, I'm like, you know what? Chiwetel Ejiofor's voice is damn perfect for this, but I've got to agree with you with the Nala thing. Going out to get a big music star. And I get it because they're singing in it. Oh, okay. But this movie would have been much better served if they actually got a voice actress. A real voice actress. Because Beyonce, and hey, I'm as much of a fan of Beyonce as anybody, but Beyonce was the wrong person to get for this. Her lines came across so bad. Even a simple line like lions attack, right? That line of hers in the movie sounds so, lions attack. And listen, my boy Jon Favreau, some of that rests on him as the director of the film. He yeah, maybe you're trying to get your best out, but you're the director. Favreau had to know, listening to her say that line, that sounds so bad. Yeah, so while I'm 100% disagree with you about the Chiwetel Ejiofor as Scar, I thought he was great. I do have to concede to you on the Nala thing that just never worked, and I thought it could. Honestly, I thought it could. I was excited when they said she was going to be doing the voice because obviously there's singing involved and all that kind of stuff, but it was a mistake. Getting her to do the voice of that, it was a mistake. Anyway, just kind of my take. I'm glad you enjoyed it more the second time around though, Benny. All right. Samuel Phoenix writes, 1 of 2. I got to be an extra on Midway. Production seemed rushed. Well, here's the thing, Samuel. When you're on the set for just a couple of days of a movie, everything moves at a breakneck speed because time is money. Every minute you're on set, it's costing the studio thousands of dollars. It really literally breaks down to every minute is costing thousands of dollars. And they move at a ferocious pace. I used to do a bunch of extra work, and I was in a number of 4 or 5 major motion pictures as an extra, and it's all the same, man. They move. It's always at breakneck speed. Always breakneck speed. Let's see. A huge light fell from the ceiling. A guy got hurt. Yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces on a film set as well. Got hurt moving a plane, and I got hit in the face by some kind of plastic barn door because of the fans. Plus, the crew said Emmerich kept changing everything last minute. Are all productions that messy? They can seem that messy, but the thing is, it's actually orchestrated chaos. Making a movie, I believe the first time I heard that phrase was from Joss Whedon. Making a movie is orchestrated chaos. You have hundreds, sometimes thousands of people there, all with an individual role to play, be it in front of or behind the camera, tons of moving pieces. You are on a crazy schedule. Every second is costing the studio money. You're trying to get things done as quick as possible. The director sees something, doesn't work for them, decides to shift something up, blah, blah. It's not unusual at all. And that's why I have the utmost respect, and why everybody should have the utmost respect for directors and what they do, because it is orchestrated chaos. And I learned that making my own movie, my movie was on just a tiny little scale, and it's 100% orchestrated chaos, man, almost all the time. All right. Patrick Conway writes, I think ScarJo has a strong chance of an Oscar. I don't think so. She's not getting any buzz right now from most of the major awards coverage people who know the awards season pretty well. I'm not really hearing any of them talking about ScarJo as being a possibility of getting a nomination. She was great in Jojo Rabbit, fabulous in it, but I'm not hearing any of these award season coverage people giving it much shot. So as great as I loved her in Jojo, I really don't think, and she definitely doesn't deserve one for Endgame. Anshil Jose just sends in a super chat. Thank you so much, Anshil. Actor friend 90 writes, were you okay with Tony's rescue in Endgame? Absolutely. I thought it worked because of the end credits from Captain Marvel. See, what I wouldn't have been okay with is if they just said, and we talked, because I remember before Endgame came out, everybody was talking about it, everybody saying, oh, Tony gets rescued because Captain Marvel's on her way to Earth and comes and finds Tony and brings him back. I always said, I will hate this movie if they do that. Do you know how big space is? Space is big. All right. The odds of her I just happened to stumble across one microcosm of dust in the vast universe as I was moving from point A to point B. It would have been fundamentally, look, it's a comic book movie. We suspend some disbelief, but that would have been way beyond. I would have hated that movie if they had said that. But clearly she came to Earth. They figured out where Tony might have gone. And then she went out to see, on behalf of the rest of the Avengers team, to go and see if she could find something. And that's where she found them. Because they only would have gotten so far from Titan, right? At the end of Infinity War, once they got that ship off the ground, they only would have gotten so far from Titan. So, yeah, I was okay with it. I would not have been okay with it, once again, had she just stumbled across them on her way to Earth. That would have been so mathematically impossible that it just would have lost me right away. But yes, the way it played out, I was okay with it. All right. Ben Sultan writes. Did I get that right? Where am I at? Oh, yes. Ben Sultan writes, "Hey, John. So with Marvel now having access for pretty much of their characters, except for Spider-Man, is more pressure on Sony for their Marvel universe to work?" No, I don't think so. I don't think there's any extra pressure. Look, there's in the world of filmmaking, and particularly with the studios and stuff like that, there is a world of pressure already. These aren't movies that are made for $50. These are movies that are made for, like, when you figure in the production budget, marketing, all that kind of stuff. These are films that cost hundreds of millions of dollars. There's a lot on the line and a lot at stake with every single one of these movies made. I honestly don't think that, Marvel now has their X-Men back, now there's more pressure. No. Sony knows all they need to do is make good movies that the audience enjoys. That's it. That's all they got to do. That's an almost impossible thing to do, but that's all they've got to do. And, if they continue to make movies on the level of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which, sorry, that was the best comic book film of 2018. It wasn't Infinity War, and it wasn't Black Panther. It was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That was easily the best comic book movie of the year. It was the third best movie of the year overall, comic book movie or not. Anyway, what Sony needs to do is continue to make movies of that caliber, give the audience the fun that they want to have in movies like they did with Venom, which made over $800 million. That's all they got to do. That's huge. That's a tall order. It's still a lot. But honestly, whether Marvel has one of their characters left or all of their characters under the stable, except for Spider-Man, it really doesn't add any. I don't believe that adds any pressure. There's already enough pressure there as it is. And, Marvel now having X-Men, that's not going to stop one person from going to see, Venom 2 than would have gone to see it anyway. I was going to go see Venom 2, but Marvel has X-Men. Now I don't feel like seeing Venom 2. No, that's not the way it works. So, no, I actually don't think there's any extra pressure. There's already a lot just because it's high stakes, but I don't think there's any extra pressure because of that. Anyway, good question, Ben. All right, Topher Rocks writes, "Hey, John, been a fan since 2012. Thank you so much, Topher. I appreciate that. I just wanted to compliment you on your success. Your rants are the best. Love the team and show you've built. You rock." Thank you so much, man. It's always nice when somebody just wants to write in to say something positive. So I appreciate that. And it is crazy. I mean, look, when you look at sports commentators who have been in the booth for 30 years, I mean, I'm still basically a rookie. In internet terms, yeah, I've been around doing this for a long time, since 2011. I'm one of the OGs. But in real broadcasters term, that's nothing. I'm the blink of an eye. But it's always really fun and it's interesting always hearing from people who have been around since the AMC days, or even going further back than that, been around since the movie blog days, which really was the thing that I started with. It's always interesting to hear that. So thank you for being along for the ride, Topher Rocks. I appreciate that, man. All right, Jim Riley writes, "Seen Dr. Sleep last night, watching the Bama game today. They got a big game against LSU today, and seeing Jojo Rabbit tomorrow on my birthday. Pretty good weekend. Roll Tide." You know what? I love watching Bama. And here's why. It's very, very different from the NFL. You are basically losing your entire team every 2 years. With players having one great year and going, I'm now making myself eligible for the NFL draft, and they come and go and they come and go and they come and go and they come and go, and every year you've got 40% turnover. Every 2 years you've got 80% turnover of your team. And every 3 to 4 years, you've got a completely different team than you had 3 or 4 years ago. And my mind boggles at the continued success that Nick Saban has coaching Bama. And every year, they're a perennial favorite. they're either winning the title or getting into the playoff or getting to the final game, or it's just success, 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 success. And it's amazing to see. It's seriously something special to see. Anyway, good luck for your team and roll Tide. All right. David Crabtree writes, 1 of 2. Some movie news from 2029. New world government, Disnopia, acquires the last remaining rogue streaming service, adding it to Disney Plus everything else. Rock says filming to begin on Black Adam 2029. Any day now. New Mutants eyes a Christmas release. 27th director announced for Ezra's Old Man Flash film. You know, here's the thing though, David. It's sad because all of that is absolutely possible. That is like, now Rock once again is saying we're eyeing a 2020 start date for shooting Black Adam. Great. But they've been saying that stuff like that for the last 5 years. I'm starting to believe that New Mutants is actually going to come out. I started to wonder, like a lot of you, but it's starting to look like New Mutants is coming out. I'm going to be fascinated to see how that movie actually turns out. But yeah, and I look, it totally still could happen. It absolutely could. I'm just kind of set my mind to the idea that we're not getting that Flash movie. That Flash movie is not happening. They're still saying it is, and it very well could. But I've checked my mind out of that to just, it's not happening. I'll believe it when I see it. And if Warner Bros. Wants to come out tomorrow and announce we're actually going to start shooting the movie next week, great. But until then, I remain incredibly dubious that that's ever actually going to happen. Anyway, thanks for sending that in, David. All right, Zach Barton says in a large super chat, thank you so much for supporting the channel on that level, Zach. We really appreciate it around here, buddy. All right. While watching the trailers before Midway, when the MPAA ratings screen came on, something below the logo, it would say MPA. Has something changed, or could it just have been a mistake? Also really enjoyed Midway for what it was. Actually... It's funny you bring that up. I guess they're starting to put that on the screens. Yeah, I had heard a little while ago that the Motion Picture Association of America has changed their name to just the Motion Pictures Association. So it is no longer the Motion Picture Association of America. It is now just the Motion Picture Association, which I believe is a reflection of the fact that they are, becoming more of an international company or more of an international body. It probably is the better phrase to put it. Well, but up until now, I had not seen that being reflected in any of the official signage or verbiage, but I guess that's a pretty good sign that that's the case. So yes, they have changed the name. Not a big thing, and it's an accurate change. I mean, look, if you are becoming more of an international body, then saying you're the blank, blank, blank of America, it no longer makes sense, and it's not actually accurate. So I believe that's what's going on. Now, I'm not an inside... expert on all things going on at the MPA, no longer the MPAA, but that's my understanding of it. So good catch seeing that there, Zach. Thanks for sending that in, man. All right, Willow Yang writes, I had no idea Last Christmas is already out. It kind of snuck its way into theaters. It felt like just yesterday when you and Rob were tearing the trailer new. And dude, listen, that trailer was so bad. And I remember being at CinemaCon in April. And, we saw a lot of great stuff. And then they did the big presentation for Last Christmas. And I was like, dude, that looks horrible. That looks terrible. And then the trailer came out and it was just garbage. To be fair, let me bring this up here. To be fair, there are people seeing it now. And apparently it's not as bad as I suspected, because right now it's got a 49% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, that's not a great score, but it means that basically half of the critics don't mind it. At least half the critics are saying this isn't bad, which is way better than I thought, because just going off the trailer, and you should never just go by the trailer, but going off the trailer, this movie looked like it was going to have a 6 or a 7%, not a 49. And the audience score, remember, these are verified. Rotten Tomatoes now verifies the movie audience score, that they confirm people actually saw the movie. 80%. So you got roughly half the critics are saying it's not bad. 80% of the audience are saying they enjoyed it at least. So, hey, let's give credit where it's due. I have no interest and I have no plans on watching it. That's one of the great things of being your own boss. You can choose if you want to skip some movies. I have no desire to see this, even though I like Golding. He's turning into a big major star right now. I like Emilia Clarke. I've never been terribly impressed with her acting outside of Game of Thrones, but maybe this is the one that starts to turn it around. But it's just that the trailers are so bad, I just have no desire to see it. But to be fair, Willow, it looks like it didn't turn out to be as bad as it looked. So let's give credit where it's due, I suppose. But I still don't plan on watching it myself. All right, Ryan Lohner writes, one big, brilliant, but I can never watch it again movie for me, Fritz Lang's M. I'm not quite sure I remember that one. Hold a second. Wait a second. I think I know the one we're talking about. Hold a second. Because the only, like, I know Fritz Lang did Metropolis, but where'd it go? Okay. Fritz Lang's M, 1931, starring Peter Lorre and Ellen Widman. I'll be honest with you, I'm not familiar with it. Yep, straight up. It's one of the great things. Whenever I get to learn something new. No, that's one I'm not familiar with, to be honest. I've seen a number of his other ones, but I was not familiar with M. So I might have to check that out. But apparently it's pretty disturbing, because if you're saying it's brilliant, but you'd never watch it again, so maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. But anyway, thank you for putting that one on my radar. Ben Burnside writes, hey, John, I saw that you are finally going to be playing Red Dead Redemption 2. I am. Can you please review the story mode on the show? I would absolutely love to hear your take. According to somebody else I wrote in a little bit earlier, apparently there's a bunch of technical problems and a bunch of glitches with the PC version right now. So I might have to wait on that. So we'll wait and see. I don't know that I'll do it. The Red Dead Redemption 2 is over a year old. I'm not going to do a review of the story mode or anything like that at this point. But if I enjoy the game, I'll do some play and chats with it for sure. But it's sounding like I might have to wait a little while to do that, because apparently they didn't bake it long enough. Apparently the game's this PC version is a little under baked right now, so we'll have to wait and see. All right, Muricy Fring writes, one of two. I've seen reports that Bob Iger said that after The Rise of Skywalker, that Star Wars feature films will go on a hiatus. So what does that mean for projects like Benioff and Weiss, Rian Johnson, and Kevin Feige were interested in making? Are Disney Plus shows like The Mandalorian the only Star Wars content we're going to see for the next few years? Thanks. Okay, I'm glad you brought this up, Marie, because I think this is something everybody is misinterpreting completely. So for those of you who don't know what's going on, Bob Iger was doing a shareholders call, which the CEO of a company will do from time to time. So he was doing a shareholders call. In that call, he said that once the last Rise of Skywalker comes out, the Star Wars films will be on a hiatus for a couple of years. That's all he said, right? That's all he said. And maybe that means that they're scrapping all their plans for their movies for the foreseeable future. Maybe, but I'm reading all these headlines from all these websites saying, Disney canceling their Star Wars plans. No movies for a long time. But hold on a second. Time out for just 1 second. What did Bob Iger actually say? Bob Iger said, and he didn't elaborate on it, all he said was, we got The Rise of Skywalker coming out, and then the movies will be on hiatus for a couple of years. That's all he said. The last time I checked, the next Star Wars movie wasn't supposed to come out till 2022. The last time I checked, it was going to be 3 years till the next Star Wars movie anyway, unless I'm missing something. Isn't 3 years a couple of years? I mean, 2 years is a couple of years. 3 years definitely falls under the category of a couple of years. So why is everybody acting all surprised? Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't what Bob Iger just said exactly what the situation is anyway? Now look, I'm not saying that we are definitely 100% still getting a Star Wars movie in 2022. Absolutely not. I'm not saying that. But if you look at this situation right now, we were supposed to get The Rise of Skywalker, and then the next Star Wars movie was going to be in 3 years in 2022. Right? Right? 3 years. So why? So when Bob Iger comes out and says, we got The Rise of Skywalker coming, then we're on a hiatus for a couple of years. Isn't that exactly what it is we already thought we had? And again, I don't want to put words in Bob Iger's mouth. Maybe he meant something more long lasting. I'm just saying that that isn't what he said. That isn't what he said. Now, some people are saying, well, it sounds like it's going to be past 2022. Why? Tell me what he said that made it sound like it'll be past 2022. Because what he said exactly matches the situation we have. The Rise of Skywalker, then a hiatus for a couple of years. Well, when was the next movie supposed to come out? In 3 years. He didn't say we're pulling our 2022 release date. Maybe they will, but that's not what he said right now. He didn't say we're pulling our 2024 release date. Maybe he will, but that's not what he said right now. So we've got 2019, okay, then 2020, then 2021, then 2022. 3 years. Is that not a couple of years? And again, let me repeat this because I already know there are a bunch of people warming up their hands, little anonymous keyboard warriors to misrepresent what I'm saying. So let me say it again for the people who are stupid. I'm not saying it is impossible that Bob Iger maybe meant a longer hiatus than was already planned. All I'm saying is he didn't say anything that is inconsistent with what we already have in place. We were going to get The Rise of Skywalker, and then we were going to have a 3-year wait until the next movie was going to come out in 2022. How is what he said any different from that? It might mean one thing, but I think it's completely irresponsible that a lot of websites and outlets are running with this story. Bob Iger says that all the Star Wars plans are canceled. What? That's not what he said. Maybe deep down that's what he meant, but that isn't what he said. So I think people are getting way ahead of themselves on this. Let's wait until we get a little bit of clarification. Because once again, the situation as it is was you're getting Rise of Skywalker and then a 3-year wait until 2022 when the next Star Wars movie would come out. And Bob Iger just said, we're going to get The Rise of Skywalker and then a hiatus for a couple of years. That's completely consistent with what we already have. Maybe there's more meaning to that, but all I'm saying is that's not what he said. So I think a lot of people are jumping the gun on this. And we'll see. We'll see. It could mean a bunch of different things, but all on face value, Bob Iger didn't say anything has changed. So that's the fact. On face value, going exactly by what he said, it doesn't sound like anything has changed. Rise of Skywalker, and in 3 years, we'll get another Star Wars movie in 22. Maybe we will, maybe we won't, but that's what he said. So let's everybody just pump the brakes on that for now. Let's just pump the brakes on that for now, and then let's see if he clarifies that, and I'm sure we'll get more information, in the coming weeks and months, and maybe things do change, maybe they don't. I'm just saying I think everybody right now is getting ahead of themselves. So call me crazy for actually taking the meaning of words and applying them to the situation. Anyway, that's just me. All right. Cameron Ross writes, thanks for sending that in, Marie. All right. Cameron Ross writes, have you seen Titan Season 2? No, and I have no plans to. It's so much better than Season 1, and this is hands down the definitive version of Deathstroke for me, and the storyline has been great. I have no desire to watch Season 2. I had a bunch of people tell me, John, Season 1 of Titans is great. And I'm like, okay. And I watch it, and it's bad. Season 1 of Titans is bad. Now, maybe you like it. Maybe there's some of you out there who really enjoyed it, and that's awesome. Just because I didn't like it doesn't mean you shouldn't. I liked the first episode, and then went straight downhill. And so there's just too much other stuff on TV. First of all, I don't have a ton of time for TV. So it's difficult for me to squeeze in TV when I can. Like I watch an episode of something while I'm eating lunch. I put on an episode of something while I'm on the treadmill at the gym in the morning. That's how I got to squeeze in watching TV. And there's so much TV to watch that I've got to be picky. I think all of us as fans have to be picky to a certain degree. And I gave Titans a shot. Sorry. I gave it a shot. And now maybe season 2 is a big improvement. Maybe. But I gave season 1 a shot. To me, it crapped the bed. And that doesn't mean other people shouldn't like it. That's great if they do. But it did not work for me. And there's a lot of other television that people are telling me is worth checking out. And they deserve to get a shot. So I'm glad you're liking season 2. But I gave it a full season. Didn't work for me. I have no desire or plans on watching season 2, unfortunately. All right. David Crabtree writes, finishing up a fun little artistic project involving the whole John Campea Show crew. Rob's had a sneak peek. I think you guys will really get a kick out of it. Well, I'm looking for, Rob told me he's got a little peek at it, so I am looking forward to seeing what you got cooking, David. David's done some artwork of the John Campea Show before. It always turns out really, really fun. So I'm looking forward to getting my first look at it, David. All right. ZOMG Ruler writes, wouldn't mind a duo team up, at least in the DCEU. It'll happen at some point. I don't care. Just give me good movies. If you can give me a great individual Wonder Woman movie, great. If you can give me a good Wonder Woman teaming up with Cyborg, great. I mean, I really don't care. All I care about is getting good movies. Warner Brothers is clearly focusing on standalone movies right now that aren't crossovers. They're not into universe building right now. And they'll get there. At some point, we are going to get some crossovers happening for sure. I'm sure that's part of their plans, but it just might be a couple of years that we need to wait. Dontae Redgraves writes, John, have you heard the news? Apparently, James Dean has been cast as Barney, Barney the dinosaur. In the upcoming film, consider my expectations subverted. Well, they did say. The head guy at Mattel said, the fans' expectations are going to be subverted with a Barney movie. That's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard a studio head guy say. By the way, full disclosure, my wife is at Hasbro. Okay, so full disclosure. I'm talking crap on Mattel right now, so I just want to give full disclosure. My wife works at Hasbro. I've talked a lot of crap about Hasbro too. But seriously, that comment that the Barney film is going to exceed this and it's going to subvert expectations. What the hell are you? It's Barney. What the hell are you smoking? That's one of the stupidest, dumbest things I've ever heard a big corporate CU guy say about an upcoming movie. It's one of the most idiotic things ever. Only to be topped by the idiocy of digitally recreating James Dean to be a character in a movie. That's so. Dontae is just taking the worst of worlds and mashing them together there. Well done, Dontae. All right. Where are we at here? Sorry, I had a little bit of a jump. Where are we at? Okay, here we are. Sheepdog117 writes, Sir, what are your thoughts on the Pixar Soul trailer? Well, it wasn't really a trailer. It was more of a teaser. And honestly, I didn't talk about this little teaser they put out for Soul because I saw like 7+ minute presentation of it at D23, which was actually pretty interesting and really, really nice. So then I saw this little clip of it and it's like, okay, nothing that I hadn't seen before. It's interesting. The little teaser is great. We still got a while before that movie comes out, and we've got Onward coming first, which I'm very excited about Pixar's Onward. And then after Onward, they'll have Soul. I thought it was an interesting teaser. It's interesting. Nothing to blow me away yet, but I thought it was interesting. Joshua Stevens writes, just binge watched The Boys and Carnival Row. Love them both. Can't wait for season 2. I have not finished Carnival Row. I've watched about 3 or 4 episodes. I like it, but it just didn't drag me back into it. But my wife finished watching it, and she said I would really like it if I keep watching it. So I got to finish off Carnival season. But like I said, I watched about the first 3 episodes, and I like them. The Boys, forget about it. The Boys was amazing. I loved it. I mean, between The Boys, Doom Patrol, and Umbrella Academy, there is some truly spectacular. And I'm digging The Watchmen so far. I believe I'm caught up. I caught up on the 3rd episode of Watchmen. There's some really good different kind of comic-based material on TV right now. And those ones really stand out. All right, KB writes, I saw Dr. Sleep. I loved this movie so freaking much. Top 5 of the year. Absolutely blown away of how much it felt like the original, but opens up this to an entire new universe of stories. The Shining universe? Oh, I certainly hope not. By the way, I really enjoyed the, Dr. Sleep as well. I immensely enjoyed it. I didn't love the part that you see in the trailers that he goes back to the hotel. That part I didn't like as much. But the rest of the movie, the vast majority of the movie, I was just glued to the screen. Loved it. It's not in my top 5, but as of right now, it is in my top 10. Had a really good. But as far as a big no, why does everybody want to turn everything to a stupid goddamn shared cinematic universe? Like, no. It was a great story. Let it go. Maybe do a sequel. I wouldn't mind to see what happens with the little girl later. But no, I don't want to shine it. It's just because it would just be cut and paste repeat. I mean, that's all it would be at this point. So I'm not for that personally, but I'm with you, KB. I really enjoyed this movie. It lived up to all it was everything I was hoping it would be. And yeah, I thought it was quite special. All right. Joshua Stevens writes, do you think we will ever get a live action Marvel versus DC movie? And would you even like to see it? No, that would be garbage. That would be such insufferable, stupid, insipid garbage. What are you going to do? Put in 50 characters. There would be no story, no narrative. What would be is 2 hours of just pure fan service with no discernible plot, no purpose for being. And it would end, and I tell you exactly how it would end. It would end in a draw. So no, I have no desire to see that. I've always said this, that would make a great 10-minute YouTube video. If the studios want to get together and make a 10-minute, 12-minute YouTube video of DC heroes fighting the superheroes from the Marvel universe, go nuts. And that could be really fun. Actually, that could be more than fun. That could be crazy fun. But an actual movie? No, because what's the movie about? Who are your characters? Which characters are going to get more than 30 seconds of screen time? So I know while I love Marvel and I love DC, I have absolutely no desire to see a Marvel versus DC movie. Whenever you ask, could it ever happen? Whenever you ask, could or ever, the answer is almost always yes. Because, who knows, 500 years from now, they could make a DC versus Marvel film. But is it going to happen in any time soon? No, it's not going to happen anytime soon. And I really don't think it should, because it would be nothing but visual noise. The movie would be nothing but visual noise. Great YouTube video, but nothing but visual noise with nothing worth putting towards for a movie. I don't think so. Anyway, that's just my opinion on that, Joshua. Fan of Peanuts writes, watch The Lighthouse. Performances are so real, raw, and unhinged. 8.9 out of 10. Saw Dr. Sleep. Excellent. Shining sequel. Directing, writing, and editing by Flanagan. 8.7 out of 10. Yeah, listen, the funny thing is, I've said this before about Lighthouse. I was glued to the screen because of the performances. Pattinson and Willem Dafoe put on a clinic for acting. It's incredible. But I came out of the movie going, what the hell did I just watch? I'm still not sure how I feel about the movie overall. But it's worth seeing. It's so worth seeing just to see Willem Dafoe do these long monologues and Robert Pattinson's performance in it is incredible and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, Dr. Sleep, dude, I was very, very happy with Dr. Sleep as well. All right. Mike Hill writes, I know you hate X actor and X role questions, but I have a unique question for you. If you could be cast in any character, who would it be? None, because I would be a terrible actor. And if you put me as a character that I love in a movie, I would ruin the movie. So literally none, because I would ruin it, because I would be a terrible, terrible actor. But let's say, just to humor the question, let's say I had to do it. If I didn't do it, orphans around the world would go hungry. Okay. I had to pick one role that I was going to play. Probably, I'm more of a Jedi guy than a Sith guy. Like when I play Old Republic, I play Jedi. But if I was going to play a role, it would probably get a big kick out of playing a Sith. If I could be in a Star Wars movie and play a Sith, I guess that's what I would do. I guess I just have more fun doing that. But bottom line, I would not put me in any movie because I would ruin the movie, just to be very, very clear. All right. Brandon Barry writes, John, with Scream coming back, would you like to see it based in real world like Wes Craven's New Nightmare? I have no interest in Scream. I have no interest in it. I have no desire or preference one way or the other with it. Now, do not misinterpret me. The first Scream film is a perfectly fine film. I always liked the Scream movie. I've never understood, which is why movies are subjective, and that's great. But personally, I've never understood why Scream seems to have this cult classic status that it has. I think it's a decent little movie, and I've watched it 4 or 5 times, and I enjoy it, but I don't think it's anything tremendously special of a film. And then I thought the sequels were bad, and when they're saying, we're bringing back Scream again, I'm like, why? And I'm not trying to yuck on anybody's yum, as Chris would say. I'm definitely not trying to yuck on anybody's yum. If you're looking forward to it and you love that stuff, that is awesome, and I celebrate that. But if you're going to ask me what I personally think about it, they're not for me. They're really not for me, so I don't really have much interest in what they do with it one way or the other, to be really honest with you. All right. Jeff Ning writes, sends in a really large super chat. Jeff, thank you so much for supporting the level on that channel, man. Or the channel on that level, blah, blah, blah. Mixing up my words. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, Jeff writes, the most egregious example of truth in movie telling, at least to me, is The Damned United, starring Michael Sheen. I remember that. To the point, one of Brian Clough's former players featured in the movie sued the movie production for libel. I don't know anything about the real life situation. Hold a second. I want to see. I can't remember who played that. The Damned United. Oh my God, Cole Meany was in that. I totally forgot about that. For those of you who he was O'Brien on Star Trek: The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. Totally forgot about that. See, I don't know anything about the real life situation. I don't know anything about the Premier League. I don't know. I know so little about soccer. The only thing I do with soccer is every 4 years when the World Cup comes along, I break out my Italian flag and I watch the World Cup. And I couldn't even do it with the last World Cup because the frickin' Forza Italia didn't even make it to the frickin' World Cup. That was how do you have a World Cup in Italy? How does Italy not qualify for the World Cup? Anyway, so I'm not going to get off on that. But that's all I know about soccer. So listen, I was saying before, what Jeff is referring to is the other day on the show, somebody was asking about, is there a responsibility for filmmakers making movies based on true stories to be as accurate as possible? And my opinion is no. These aren't documentaries. These aren't news exposés. This is narrative storytelling. The job of the filmmakers is to make the best movie possible. So I'm cool with that. I'm cool if they don't stay, totally to script. But there is a difference. And again, I don't know this particular situation, Jeff, but there is a difference between taking some liberties and then completely misrepresenting somebody or something. Like if you show a movie, okay, in real life, Mr. A and Mr. B never had a midnight coffee at that restaurant that changed the direction of their company. Okay, that's fine, but does that utterly misrepresent the spirit of what the events were? No, so that's fine. But you also don't want to say, well, in that midnight scene between Mr. A and Mr. B, Mr. A pulled a gun and shot 5 people in the restaurant. What? First of all, now you're making Mr. A look like a monster. Number 2, that never happened. That's a complete departure from even what the spirit of based on the true event. You do want to be careful about that. Now, again, I don't know this situation, but if Brian Clough, who I believe is the guy the movie is about, the guy who played the coach, if Brian Clough feels like he was completely misrepresented to the fact that to a certain extent that he needs to take legal action, we'll see what happens. Now, remember, anybody can sue anybody for anything they want. Doesn't mean they're going to win. So I don't know. Maybe he loses this case and all that. I don't know. But again, I would concede that there's a fundamental difference between taking some liberties and then fundamentally misrepresenting the individuals and the events as they were to the point that you're violating the spirit of what the true events were. That's a different thing, and I think there is a line that has to not be crossed there. Anyway, excellent example, Jeff. Thanks for bringing that up. I wish I knew more about the real life situation. I just don't, unfortunately. But thank you for bringing that up. It's a good observation. All right. A fan of Peanuts writes, Next up today from my A-list is Parasite. Nice. Then going to my friend's house to play Scrabble and eat Chinese. Tomorrow, Jojo Rabbit. Can't wait. That, fan of peanuts, sounds like an excellent Saturday. Excellent Saturday. First of all, you're going to go see Parasite. It's my number 2 movie of the year right now. Love this movie. It's Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, directed by Quentin Tarantino. That's what this movie is, and it's brilliant, and I'm glad you're going to go see that. And then tomorrow is my favorite movie of the year you're going to go see, which is Jojo Rabbit. So that sounds like a day. And then, of course, playing games and eating food. Seriously, Ann and I, most Sundays, we host a game night here at our place. A lot of times we play Dungeons and Dragons, but some nights everybody just comes over and we just play random games. We'll play like Mario Party on the Nintendo, or we'll break out Clue, or we'll break out Risk or something like that, and we'll just have a bunch of food and a whole bunch of people come over. One of my favorite nights. So it sounds like you got a great weekend planned for yourself, fan of peanuts. All right. Jacob Ibarra writes, Alien, Predator, and now Terminator. Is the general audience just not interested in these classic sci-fi horror icons anymore? No, I just think they've been done to death. I mean, that's the problem. Like you just keep, look, I'm all for sequels. I am. But you got to be able to read the room, right? You got to read the room. They should have known. Look, I like the new Terminator movie. I like it. It's not great, but I like it. But if they had come to me, which thank God they don't, but if they had come to me and said, hey, John, we think we're going to make another Terminator movie. And this time we think we can get Linda Hamilton back and James Cameron's back as a producer, not directing, but at least as a producer. What do you think? You think we're poised and ready to go for it? I would have told them, guys, what are you talking about? You just did Terminator Genesis, as Schnepp used to call it. You just did Terminator Genesis. You didn't lose the house on it, but clearly people weren't all that interested, and the movie was terrible. You've sullied the name of no, don't make another one. Maybe in 15 years? Hell, maybe even in 10 years, but don't make another one now. You got to be able to read the room. You know, Predator, look, guys, read the room. People are not interested in a new Predator movie right now. It doesn't help that you cranked out crap. Read the room. People are not interested in more Alien right now. I'm sure there are some, but the vast majority of the movie-going audience isn't. It's not that I think audiences don't care about these classic icons. It's just that they're played out, and now is not the time for these things. Read the room. The audience right now does not have a positive disposition towards the name Predator or Terminator or Aliens to that degree. It doesn't change their classic iconic status, but maybe now's not the right time to make these movies. Read the room. Anyway, that's just kind of my thought on that. All right, Marley Villasenor writes, polishing up my best of the decade list, and I have La La Land as my number 1. Interesting. Am I crazy, or can you see can you see how I just purely adore that film? Damien Chazelle is great. Damien Chazelle is great, and La La Land is wonderful. I love La La Land. I clearly will not have it in my top spot of best of the decade, because to me, it wasn't even top spot of the year. It was great. I love it, but it was not the best film of that year, let alone the decade for me. But it's a wonderful film, absolutely wonderful film. And believe you me, I know a number of people who just love that movie. So I can see how you adore it. Again, it's not going to be anywhere near the top spot. I'm going to have to start putting together my top of the decade as well. But yeah, for me, La La Land probably isn't even going to be top 10. It'll be up there. It'll be up there when you consider all the films that have come out in the last 10 years. Probably not my top 10, but listen, it's such a different movie. It's such a unique movie. It's got such energy and passion in it. I can totally see why you adore it the way you do. Absolutely. Just like a number of my other friends adore that film. And you're right. Damien Chazelle is a special director. He really is. All right. Jeff writes in again, sending another big super chat. Thank you for that, Jeff. He writes in, by the way, Tom Hooper directed The Damn United. Oh, that's why the movie rang a bell. Tom Hooper just does not make a bad movie. Tom Hooper's a great director. He did The King's Speech, which is going to be in my top 10 of the decade list, by the way. He did Les Mis with Hugh Jackman, which I thought was wonderful. and he got some Oscars for that. And he's directing the new Cats, which the trailer looked terrible. Yep, the trailer for Cats is awful. But Tom Hooper's directing it, so you just better put your money on the fact that it's going to be a good movie, because he just doesn't know how to make a movie that isn't great. Also, Klaus family declined the invite to screen the movie, stating the movie was total nonsense. Well, how can they say it was total nonsense if they didn't? That's my question. How can they say it was total nonsense if they didn't screen the movie? Don't you need to see the movie first to say if it's total nonsense? Again, I'm not against them. I'm just saying, if you're going to say, how can you say a movie is anything if you don't watch it first? I find that interesting. All right. The James Eversole Jr. writes, "You rock, John. Have a good day." Thank you so much, man. It's always nice when somebody wants to send in something just to be nice. Hector Zarate writes, "Good morning, Mr. Campea. Hope you've been having a great week." I have been having a great week. Thank you so much. "And we'll have a great weekend. God bless, sir." Well, thank you so much. And thank you for supporting the channel on that level, dude. Again, I got some great stuff going on this weekend. Actually, the whole weekend's going to be great, because today Ann and I are doing a couple of things, which I won't talk about now, but we're also going out to some friends for Friendsgiving. And then tomorrow, we got courtside seats for the Toronto Raptors versus the Los Angeles Lakers. Very excited. Going to be fun. It's just good that we have certain people that watch this show that set me up with some stuff every once in a while, which is really fun. So I'm super stoked about that. Last time we had these seats, we were on TV. You could see us almost every time they came down the court. So if you're sitting at home tomorrow and you see the Laker Raptor game is on, tune in and see if you can see me and Ann. You should be able to see us. Anyway, I'm kind of excited about that. Anyway, thank you for that, Hector. I appreciate that very much. All right, Jeff also writes, movie taking consecutive weekends at number one is, as Hulk Hogan once stated to The Rock, in a flavor of the month situation, but stranger things can happen at any given time. But we are simply not in an era anymore where that's possible. We are just simply not in an era anymore where it's possible for a movie in its 12th week to beat a movie coming out in its opening weekend. It's not possible anymore. And that's why I say that, because you're never even going to see 10. You're never going to see 9 again. You're never going to see 9 weeks in a row, let alone 10 or 11 or 12 or 13 or 14 or 15 weeks. It's just the climate has changed, and our movie going patterns, which are only going to continue to go that way. You know, every year, opening weekend becomes more and more front-end loaded for almost every movie. Movies like The Greatest Showman, which opened terribly low and then went on to make over $400 million, that's incredibly rare, but was never number one at the box office. It's just the way that our dynamics are right now. So I just don't see it being at all possible at all. Number one for 5 weeks? Yeah, but that's a huge accomplishment. 6 weeks? 7, 8, 9? It can't happen. No matter how good or big a movie is, even Avengers Endgame, the biggest movie of all time. What was its streak? 4 or 5. Avengers Endgame, biggest movie worldwide in history. And it was what, 4 or 5 weeks? Most? It wasn't 7. So I just don't see it. I don't know how that's ever going to be possible. All right. Manic Bisht writes, should I jump straight to Mandalorian? Never watched any Star Wars. I think you'll probably be fine. It's going to be one of those movies, or shows, I should say, that will explain everything you need to know. Now, look, like everything else, there's going to be things that you would get a deeper appreciation for if you knew the rest of it, but I think you'll be fine just going right into Mandalorian. I haven't seen Mandalorian myself to know for sure, but that's what I suspect. Hector Zarate writes, also, I watched The Last Starfighter. God, I love that movie. Love that movie so much. I freaking loved it. Thank you, sir, for talking about it. And now I hope they can make an awesome remake. Guys, please, please, please follow Hector's example here. Please follow Hector's example. The Last Starfighter is awesome. For those of you who don't know anything about it, it's basically this. There's this guy living in a trailer park, and there's a video game there. And he's great at this video game, like breaks all the records for this video game. It's a standing arcade kind of video game that's on the porch of the office, and he plays it. But as it turns out, that's not a regular video game. There's an actual alien war going on out in the cosmos. And this alien race has sent out these video games as actual things to test and find potential starfighters. People who have the gift to actually get in the cockpit of a starfighter and save the galaxy. And they've decided that this guy is one of them. He's got the skills to do it. And they come and recruit him into their galactic war. It's awesome. It's all sorts of awesome. Please follow, and they got to remake it. I would love it if they rebooted this thing. It would so benefit from modern technology. Anyway, I'm glad you got a chance to watch that, Hector. All right, Lone Wolf X6 writes, Flash was filler with Cisco. It really was. But Carlos's acting was really good with his evil twin scene, in my opinion. Joe and Wells scene was good. Have some faith. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. This last week's episode of Flash was a throwaway filler episode. I mean, that was really unfortunate. I love Carlos playing Cisco. I didn't think that was the best acting he's done in this show. I'll be honest with you. I didn't think it was the best acting. The actor who plays Joe, and I'm embarrassed that I'm forgetting his name right now. He is an actual world-class actor. Hold a second. He's an actual world-class actor. I remember seeing him in Rent and stuff like that. He's an actual real singer, real all this stuff. Jesse Lee Martin. Why I froze on Jesse Lee Martin's name, I'm not sure. Jesse Lee Martin is a remarkable, true thespian. He's kind of like the Alec Guinness. You know how George Lucas went out and got Alec Guinness to be in Star Wars to give it a little bit of heft and a little bit of credibility. And they went out and got Jesse Lee Martin for Flash to kind of bring that same sense to the show, and he's totally done that. That was a good scene. That was a good scene. It was still a total throwaway waste of a thing, which is really kind of too bad. Anyway, because I've really been enjoying the season so far. I've been quite enjoying the season so far. All right. The Save Me One writes, Beyonce was good in Dreamgirls and Austin Powers 3. I agree. Yeah. I'm totally down with that. I quite liked her in Austin. I completely agree. But she was not the right person to get as a voice actor for Nala. It's just is what it is. But I agree. She was good in those ones. Lone Wolf X6 writes, Arrow finale is January 28th. I'm sad, John. I am too. Because aside from Oliver's Idiot Kids, take Oliver's Idiot Kids out of it, this has been one of the better seasons of Arrow they've had in a long time. And it is kind of sad to see this era come to an end. Scott Logan writes, thanks for being a great guy, John. Well, thank you so much, Scott. I appreciate it. And thank you for supporting the channel by being here, man. All right. Celestial Dreams writes, would you be okay with, and do you think Shia LaBeouf could pull off Two-Face, choosing one for Two-Face, Daniel Kaluuya, John David Washington, or Shia LaBeouf? I don't do X actors and X role questions. I don't. Now, look, all I ever care about is, are you getting a good actor? That's all I care about. Because I don't know what the script calls for. I don't know what, like, for instance, if Two-Face is in this movie, what kind of Two-Face is he going to be? Because every movie will have their own version of that character, or whatever character, right? Like the Two-Face that we got from why am I freezing on the name? This is killing me. I love this actor. Hold a second. Why am I freezing on X name? Eckhart. Aaron Eckhart. The Two-Face that we got from Aaron Eckhart was a totally different Two-Face than we got from Tommy Lee Jones, right? So since we don't know the specifics of what kind of thing is, it's impossible for any of us to know which actor would actually be the right fit. So all I care about is a good actor. Shia LaBeouf is a great actor. So if they were to announce that he was going to play Two-Face, I'm all for it. John David Washington is rounding out to be a really good actor. So if they were to announce him to playing it, I'm all for it. Daniel Kaluuya is rounding out to be a really good actor. He's even getting a little bit of Oscar buzz for Queen and Slim. He's real good. But there are 15, 20, 30 other names that I'd be really good for too. So it's impossible to say, even if you want to give me a list, Shia LaBeouf, Daniel Kaluuya, John David Washington, who do you, well, we don't know what this Two-Face character is going to be in this movie. Because if the Two-Face is one way, well, then the best fit might be John David Washington. But if the Two-Face is a different way, maybe Shia LaBeouf. If he's kind of in the middle, maybe David Kaluuya. So we just don't know. All I care about is get a good actor. And all of those and about 20, 30, 40, 50, 75 other names are good actors. I'm all for it. So it would be great. So yeah, if they announce tomorrow John David Washington was Two-Face, I'm thrilled because he's a good actor. If they were to announce Shia LaBeouf, I'm thrilled because he's a great actor. You know, so I'd be happy with any of those names. Happy with any of the names. Fan of Peanuts writes, I'm curious for Official Secrets. Your thoughts? I can't even remember which one that is off the top of my head, to be honest with you. Let me just see. Which one is Official Secrets? Oh, yeah, I'm not really... I have heard of this. I had heard of it, but I really don't know anything about it, so I can't comment on that, unfortunately. William Crook writes, do you think the song Speechless from Aladdin will be nominated for Best Song at the Oscars? I do. It's a great song. You know, it's funny. We had 2 Disney live action films. Lion King wasn't live action, but 2 updated Disney films. One in Aladdin, one in Lion King. Both have a lot of musical numbers from the original movie. Both introduced a new song. One in Lion King by Beyonce, and one sang by Naomi Scott, Speechless, in Aladdin. One was great. Naomi Scott's song was great, and it fit right in with the movie. The Beyonce song was not. That was a bad song that did not fit with the movie whatsoever. And she's one of the great musicians of our era, and that just did not work whatsoever. So it's kind of weird that. But yes, I do believe Speechless can get a nomination. I thought it was great. I really do. And it fit in perfectly with the scenes they played it in. And Naomi Scott's fabulous. And yeah, I loved it. Okay, let's see here. Tom Weinberg writes, I'm going through Love, Death, and Robots at the moment. Love some episodes, but a lot seem too focused on being edgy. Still, love how it's different, how different and unique it is. You know, that was a show that I watched the trailers for, and I'm like, this doesn't interest me at all. And so when it came out, I just didn't watch it. But I've been having a number of people tell me that's really, really interesting, including Robert. Robert seems to like it too. But it just... I don't know. There's something about it that just like, that doesn't appeal to me. Like, I've got an hour right now. Do I want to watch, the next episode of Watchmen, or get caught up on Supernatural, or see the next episode of The Flash? Or do I want to try, the next episode of Morning Show or whatever? Or do I want to see Love, Death, and Robots? I choose a lot of the other stuff, but I'm actually hearing it's not bad, and it's got some pretty creative stuff. So interesting to hear your assessment on that, Tom. All right. William Crook writes, where'd we go? Sorry, I had another jump here. William Crook writes, thoughts on Supernatural this season? Not the best. I'm enjoying it. Not the best season so far, though. I haven't seen the newest episode. The last episode I saw was the one with Rowena, and that's the last one I saw, so I haven't seen the newest episode. So far, I would give this season a C+. I give this season a C+ so far, so let's see where the rest of it goes. Tom Weinberg writes, between Love, Death, and Robots and Living with Yourself, which I liked, I'm also a big fan of having these shorter episode things to watch. Great bite-sized entertainment. When you have a little time to kill. Yeah, so that's one of the things I noticed too about, because I watched the pilot of Living with Yourself with Paul Rudd. Yeah, they're short. It's one of the things I like about, because Barry is the same way, isn't it? Isn't Barry like 30 minutes? I kind of dig it. Now, there are some shows where 30-minute episodes is not what the show needs, and I get it. But there are some that you can do that length, and they're like nice pop episodes. So, and it does make it easier to get caught up on those. Makes it a hell of a lot easier. I'm completely with you on that, Tom. All right. Jim Riley writes, favorite part of Dr. Sleep was the scenes at the hotel. See, that's the funny thing, Jim. There's a number of people who hate the scenes at the hotel, and a number of people who love the scenes at the hotel. And it's really divided there. Overall, I quite enjoyed the movie a lot. I really do like this movie a lot, but I'm one of the people that I didn't like the scenes at the hotel. That's just me. Didn't hate them, but they were the weaker part of the movie for me. Let's put it that way. This is a placeholder name writes, Just finished OJ versus the People. Such a crazy story. It is. And now you start to see why it got all the acclaim that it got and all the attention it got. It is a nutty, nutty story, man. Taylor Robbins writes, "Hey, John, love the show." Thank you so much, Taylor. Sorry if you've answered this 100 times, but did you ever have the chance to watch Punisher Season 2? What did you think? I did watch Punisher Season 2. I quite enjoyed it. I really did quite enjoy it. It is too bad. Look, it's too bad we're not getting another season of Daredevil. It's too bad we're not going to get another season of Punisher. But hey, you know what? I love that we got them. I love that we got them. And the neat thing about the Punisher, this is the funny thing. I like the Daredevil show better than the Punisher show, but I feel like Punisher is more rewatchable. Like, while I prefer the Daredevil show, I think if I had a weekend, it's like, hey, you can binge watch one of these two shows again, the Daredevil stuff or the Punisher. I might go Punisher, even though I like the Daredevil stuff a little bit more. Anyway, they were both great, and I really did enjoy Punisher Season 2. The ending was fantastic. I loved the antagonist in it. The not the big bad guy, but the soldier dude, the one with the kids. Loved him. I thought that was such an interesting take on a character. So yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit. All right, Muricy Fring writes, "Thanks to Dontae Redgrave for the heads up. James Dean is perfect for the part." Yeah, that's right. They wrote it in there. "It'll totally subvert all of our expectations, Marie. Totally subvert them." All right. Francisco C writes, "Yay, I got tickets for Rise of Skywalker on December 18th. I got my tickets. So excited about it. I know you guys are too. Cannot wait. I'm glad you were able to get your tickets, man." All right. Jake Iyer writes, "Hey, John, have you read Scorsese's editorial in the New York Times? Is he right? My local cinema only has 4 screens and only plays franchise films." I haven't read the full thing, but what does he... Well, look, if you're in a theater that has 4 screens, what is the movie theater supposed to play? They're going to play whatever is out that they think more people are going to come to. That's the business. That's the business. It always has been the business. That's never not been the case. If a movie theater has the option of putting one movie on the screen, which they think will get 100 people into their theater, or they can put another movie on that screen, which they think will get 25 people into the theater, which one are they going to play? The answer is, and always has been, the movie that they think 100 people want to come out and see. If you want to change that, make people want to see your movies. I mean, that's all there is to it. There is no onus on anybody else to lose money. It's not the movie theater's job to lose money just so they can put your film on the screen. Right? Now, the vast majority of movie theaters these days are not just 4 screens. Right? I've got 3 movie theaters all within a 12-minute walk of where I live. The smallest one has 6 screens. And it always has some indie, smaller budget, whatever film playing in there. Always does. The AMC 8 always has smaller films playing. The AMC Burbank 16 always has smaller films playing. Yeah, if I'm a movie theater owner and I've only got 4 screens, well, guess what? I'm going to put on the 4 screens what I think are going to be the 4 biggest movies. That's my business. That's what I do. That's how I make money, is by people coming into my movie theater and buying popcorn. And if I can get more people in my theater by putting that movie on my screen, then that's the movie I'm going to put on my screen. It's not the movie theater's job to make audiences see the films they think they should be watching. It's the movie theater's job to put on their screens what they think the audiences want to come and see. Now, thankfully for smaller films, most of the movie outlets today, most of the movie exhibitors have much bigger than just 4 screens. Most of them do. So where I live, I have always got tons of options to see smaller films and see independent. As a matter of fact, you know what? Let me bring this up right now. I'm going to go to my local movie theater that I go to all the time. The AMC Burbank 16, that's the one I go to. That's what movie theater a lot of people around here go to all the time. And let me bring up the Burbank 16. Okay, hold on a second. 91501 is my postcode. AMC Burbank 16. All right, let's go in and take a look to see what's playing at the AMC Burbank 16. Right now, see if I can get this up here. Right now, Dr. Sleep is playing there. Not a huge blockbuster film. Midway, the new little Roland Emmerich film. Last Christmas, a little romantic comedy. Stupid little Playing with Fire, which nobody wants to see. And then they got the big budget Terminator Fate, Maleficent. Then we've got a very small film, Harriet, is playing in there. Then the big family one, we got Joker and Addams Family. We got the very low budget film, Zombieland Double Tap. We've got the foreign Korean film, Parasite, is playing in there. We got the new little film from Taika Waititi, Jojo Rabbit. They're also playing Met Live, Madam Butterfly. So there are a number. At least half the screens are being taken up by smaller, lower budget films. What are they supposed to do? Take out all the big ones and only have room for smaller films? So like, I haven't read the full editorial. I only read excerpts from it, but you know, Scorsese's got to understand. And look, trends come and go, by the way. Trends come and go. Comic book movies are not always going to be the biggest thing. There will come a time when they will bottom out, and then they'll come back, and then they'll go away, and then they'll come back. That's the cyclical nature of the business. All right. Celestial Dreams writes, "Hey there, just hear me out. With Mad Hatter said to appear in the Batman based on resume, unique look and height. Toby Jones, Richard Dreyfuss, Dustin Hoffman. Again, I don't do the X actor and X role. You have no idea. Even if Mad Hatter's in it, you have no idea what they're going to make that Mad Hatter like in the movie. So we have no idea what actor would actually be the better fit. So again, they're all great actors. So I would take any of them, but it would just as long as they put a good actor in there. That's the one I'm for. But again, if they were to announce Toby Jones, I'm all for it. If they were to announce Dustin Hoffman, I'm all for it. If they were to announce Richard Dreyfuss, I'm all for it. As long as it's a good, talented actor, that's all I care about. All right. Fan of Peanuts writes, watch Kubrick's Lolita, awkward but solid. Awkward? I don't know if even awkward starts to cover it, my friend, but it's one of those films that we always talk about a lot. I mean, that's a movie that gets referenced an awful lot. Absolutely. Slim Trav writes, JC, saw We Got This Covered and Cosmic Book News that your Incredible Hulk cameos are confirmed to have their on Disney Plus show. Congrats. I know. Listen, the two worst, and this is what makes them the worst. And by the way, I'm not saying that overall Cosmic Book News or We Got This Covered aren't overall great sites. I'm not saying that they're not overall great sites. They can be very, look, they could have the best editorials and really engaging fun content and blah, 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 and all that kind of, I'm not speaking to them as a whole at all, but on the one specific area, the one specific thing, when it comes to getting false information out and starting false rumors, these two are the worst. So like I constantly get these emails from people saying, John, did you hear the report that such and such is such and such? And I'll write back sometimes, say, and where did this report come from? It was on We Got This Covered. Yeah, ignore it. Ignore it. It's not that it'll always be wrong. Like they just throw a lot of spaghetti at the wall, and sometimes some of the strands of spaghetti sticks, and most of it just falls to the floor. But yeah, it's usually nonsense. So I tell people, like, don't ever send me something. It's like, did you hear the report? If it comes from Cosmic Book News or if it comes from We Got This Covered. Again, I'm not saying they're not wonderful, engaging, and have a lot of benefit to them sites. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that one specific area, they start 90% of the false fake news and the false fake rumors. So never, ever, ever, ever write to me a main topic for the John Campea Show if the source of it was from one of those. So anyway, thanks for writing that in, Slim Trav. All right. Casinema Reviews writes, calling it now, a lot of the Rise of Skywalker reviews, even good ones, will start with, despite not even trying to fix the problems caused by The Lost Jedi or some crap. Maybe. It's possible. But I doubt it. I doubt it. We'll see. Look, there are going to be 1,000 reviews out there for it. And are you going to find some that do that? Absolutely. You're going to find some. But it won't be the majority of them. It won't be most of them. And by the way, maybe the movie will be terrible. Maybe it'll be great. We'll find out that soon enough. But I don't think you're going to see many start with that. There will be some. For sure, there will be some. but I don't think you're going to see many. Cassino also writes, sorry, but like Chris, it's hard to get excited because all I can associate with it is all the discourse and damage the Last Jedi haters have done to this franchise. Again, Cassino, you got to get over this, dude. You got to get over it. Like, complaining about the complainers, we can do that once in a while when something comes up, but you got to move past it. And listen, nobody has the power to make you like or not like something unless you give them that power, right? And I got to tell you, brother, I don't buy into this thing. I can't be excited for it because these people have all ruined it for me. No. Nobody has the power to make you do anything unless you very voluntarily give them that power. You have to voluntarily give them that power for that to have any effect on you. And so I got to say, brother, you got to moved past that nonsense. You got to move past that, right? Either you're looking forward to the movie or you're not. And you either look forward to the movie or not based on its own criteria. And if you tell me I'm excited about it because somebody told me to be excited about it, or if you're not excited about it because all these other people keep talking so badly about it that I can't enjoy it, well, then that's on you. That's on you. Nobody has the power to make you feel anything unless you voluntarily give them that power. Right? And hey, we all get caught in that. We all do. This isn't just your problem. We all get caught in that. But you got to stop and realize nobody has the power to make me feel this way except you. And if somebody else is making you feel that way, that meant that you are voluntarily giving them that power. So take it back and either enjoy it or don't enjoy it and look forward to it or don't look forward to it based on its own merits. Because if anybody else is influencing it, it's only because you give them the power to do that. That's just my thought on that. Anyway. Canada Rocks. Where did we go? There we go. Canada Rocks sends in a really large super chat. Thank you for that, Canada Rocks. Writes in, M is a much watch for a cinephile. Peter Lorre plays a child murderer that is hunted by the criminal community because the police are hasting them. Lang transitions to sound with an early example of sound design brilliance. Well, that sounds really interesting. A child murderer. Oh, okay, not a child who is a murderer, but a child murderer, somebody who murdered a child, and the criminals are hunting them because the criminals are being targeted by the police for doing it for maybe something to do. That sounds like an interesting concept. I may have to keep my eyes open for that one. Thank you for the recommendation. All right, Canada Rocks also writes, sorry, I meant hassling. That, yeah, okay, got it. Gotcha. Thank you for clarifying that, Canada Rocks. Val Soto writes, can you buy bagged milk in SoCal? You sold me. I have never seen bagged milk in SoCal. That's why when I moved here, I'm like, why? Wait, you put your milk in like cardboard cartons? What? Like, seems weird to me. But hey, it is, so I've never seen it. Let's see. Third Man 3 writes, have you heard anything about these bad test screenings for 9? And listen, first of all, never, ever, ever believe, oh, we have a report that a test screening happened and blah, blah. Never believe that's bullshit. Unless the directors or the studio themselves come out and say it. The people who go to these test screenings are vetted and they sign NDAs out the ass. Never believe any report. It doesn't matter. I don't care if a report comes out tomorrow and says, did you hear that? Unless, of course, J.J. Abrams talks about it or the studio talks about it. But if you get some anonymous report that Star Wars Episode 9 is the greatest movie ever, it's going to change cinematic history, don't believe it. Don't believe that bullshit. This is agenda-driven stuff, both on the positive side and on the negative side. Don't buy into it, and don't be one of the peoples that propagate it. Never, ever, ever, unless it comes from the studio or from where never believe or buy into any of this. There was advanced screening, and here's what came out of the test. Never believe that. That stuff does not come out. So don't believe it, and don't propagate it. I don't care if somebody comes out tomorrow and says, secret test screening says Star Wars Episode 9 is the greatest thing ever. I mean, feel excited about it if you want, but don't spread that around because there's a 99% chance that it's total bullshit. And maybe the movie is great, or maybe it is terrible. But I guarantee you, whatever these reports are, total bullshit. Total bullshit. Don't pay any attention to them. Fan of Peanuts writes, keep one, lose one, A Quiet Place or Logan? Keep Logan. I love Quiet Place. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Can't live without Logan, though. Logan, to me, changed my perception of the whole comic book genre, so can't lose it. Even though Quiet Place was my number one film of the year, that particular year, and Logan was also the number one film of that particular year, of its particular year to me, but I keep Logan. No disrespect to Quiet Place, because I love that movie, but I keep Logan. Ben Rayner writes, I flexed the wrong muscle, Doom Patrol, baby. I love Doom Patrol season 1. Season 2 is my number most, I'm going to guess you meant to say number 1, is my number 1 most anticipated show season for 2020. The butts are loose. Listen, guys, especially after the fiasco that was Titans, I had no desire to watch Doom Patrol. It didn't look all that interesting to me, and I thought Titans was bad, so I'm like, I'm not going to watch Doom Patrol. But then I had so many people telling me, John, Doom Patrol is awesome. Give it a shot. You are going to love this. And I'm like, fine. So I put on one episode. Completely hooked. Completely hooked from episode 1. Love that show. And I cannot wait for it to come back. I absolutely cannot wait. It's going to be the first thing I watch on HBO Max. It's going to be the first thing I watch on HBO Max. Thanks for that, Ben, because I am totally with you on that, dude. And yes, the I flexed the wrong muscle is one of the greatest moments in television history. Easily, to me, top 20. One of the top 20 greatest moments in television history. I love that scene so much. All right. This is a placeholder name writes, any chance for Lego Movie 2 to get an Oscar nom? I highly doubt it. I mean, is it possible? Of course it's possible. But the first movie was far better than the second one, and the first movie didn't get a nomination, so I don't expect to see this one get a nomination, so probably not. Lone Wolf X6 writes, John, have you seen Kidding with Jim Carrey yet? I have not. No, I have not seen that. I'm not even familiar with that one, to be honest. Suthius writes, hey, Mr. C, representation is important to me. I love that more Asian actors are getting substantial and less stereotypical roles. I don't know what ones you're talking about, Suthius, but that's good. No, listen. Yes, representation does matter. Representation does matter. Because guess what? I go out in my world, and about 20 to 30% of the people in my specific world, I have a lot of Asians in my specific world because I'm married into an Asian family. But when I go out into the world at large, I see 20 or 30% of the people I see are Asian. And yet, when I go into my movies, maybe 3% of the people I get to come across are Asian. Yeah, no, it's good that we're starting to see that a little bit. And let's see what happens with Shang-Chi. Let's see what happens with Shang-Chi, because I think it could bust the floodgates open a little bit. Captain Chicken Pants writes, remember the Elm Street remake? Me neither. But you know what would have made it original? The filmmakers have stuck with the narrative that Freddy was innocent and the children lied about him. That wouldn't have made the movie any better. That's the thing. You can make a plot shift, but that was just a poorly made bad movie. And it was going to be a poorly made bad movie regardless of the direction they went with it. So I don't think that would have changed anything, unfortunately. And I don't think making him innocent or bad, and that's an interesting side note, but it's not fundamental to our understanding of what Freddy is. I mean, regardless of how he got there, a guilty man from the beginning, an innocent man at the beginning, he is the monster, right? And if your filmmakers aren't going to make the film well, then they weren't going to make it well even if they had a better story idea to begin with. It was just a badly made movie. All right, Jake Iyer writes, where are we? We're right here. John, counting on my thoughts, let me try this thing. Continuing on my thoughts, this is why I collect 4K films, because my theater won't play films that interest me. Yeah, I mean, it is unfortunate if the only theater you got close to you is a theater that plays 4 movies and only has 4 screens. That sucks, because there are going to be some weeks, like there are some weeks that have 5 wide release movies come out, and you can't even, let alone movies that came out the week before that, or the week before that, or the week before that. It makes it unfortunate. Although that doesn't change, like you can't buy a 4K movie of a movie that's out right now, so that doesn't help your immediate problem. And hey, collect those discs while you can, because the physical media is going away. Not tomorrow, but it's not going to be around for a hell of a lot longer, so collect it while you can. I had some people ask me, like, should I bother collecting that stuff if it's going away? I'm like, dude, listen, if you like physical media, it's absolutely the most essential time to be collecting it, because you're not always going to be able to collect it. So, yeah, if you love your physical media, should you bother still buying them? Absolutely. Absolutely you should, because you might regret it later on when this is not available anymore. All right, a fan of Peanuts writes, my top 5 for 2019 so far. Number 5, The Lighthouse. Number 4, Toy Story 4. Oh, God, I love Toy Story 4. Number 3, Booksmart. Number 2, Endgame. Number 1, Joker and Jojo Rabbit. Knives Out or Star Wars might change it. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not anticipating... Look, I'm hoping to love Star Wars, but I'm not anticipating Star Wars will be in my top 5 movies of the year list. Hopefully I love it, and hopefully I have a really good time with it, but I'm not anticipating it's going to be like in my top 5. If it is, great. But yeah, and the question that comes up for me a lot, I put out a tweet the other day mentioning my top 5. And a lot of feedback I got from people was, where's Endgame? It's not one of the top 5 movies of the year. I had a great time with Endgame. I saw it multiple times in theaters. I had a very good time with it, but it's not, it's all subjective, but it's not, I'm not even sure it's going to be in my top 10. It'll probably end up in my top 10. Probably will. But there's a chance it may not even be in my top 10 by the end of the year. So I enjoyed it very much. It's just not a great movie. But anyway, it's a super fun movie, so it is what it is. All right. Suthius writes, in Cambodia, a lot, if not majority of street food beverages you get come in little bags, really, whether it's sugarcane juice, iced tea, or even yogurt. Really? See, that makes a lot of sense to me. That makes a lot of sense, but I've never seen stuff like that. Like when I see street meat and street vendors, I don't see a lot of drinks available, and normally when you do, it's Coca-Cola in its can or bottled water, but that's interesting. If you ever get a picture of that, send it to me. I'd be interested to see that. All right, a fan of Peanuts writes, other than Jar Jar Binks, what was the single most disappointing aspect from The Phantom Menace? Me, it was simply the writing. I like the rest okay. The writing was terrible. See, here's the interesting thing, too. I have always contended that the prequel movies, if you just broke down the essential elements of the story outline to the prequels in three separate 5-page outlines, I contend that if you were to step back and look at those 3 5-page outlines, they look great. I think George Lucas continued to have a overall sense and great idea of the overall story. Because to me, the weaknesses of the prequel were not in the overall arc of what he was thinking. Because I think, again, if you break The Phantom Menace down into a 5-page summary, into a 5-page outline, I think it looks like it could be a very good movie. The devil was in the details, though. It was horrible writing. Horrible script. And Jar Jar, by the way, is just one of the extensions of that horrible writing and script. So yeah, the writing was also a pretty bad thing, unfortunately. Geo writes, sup, John? Sup? Thanks for writing that in, man. Third Man 3 writes, you didn't read my whole question. Oh, did I miss a part of it? I'm sorry. Sometimes I do that. Forgive me. You didn't read my whole question on the 9 test screening. I said it was BS, and I was asking if you believe that they brought in Lucas to fix... Oh, God, no. Sorry, you don't bring in the guy who made the prequels to fix anything. So, no, they did not bring in George Lucas to do anything. No. Now, what the tradition is when they start production on something and they're in production, they'll often have George Lucas come and do a set visit. He did that with Mandalorian as well. He did a set visit for The Phantom Menace. Or The Force Awakens, I should say. But no, I don't believe that at all. Michael F. Sotelo writes, Bubba Hotep is free with ads on YouTube. Really? Guys, if you have not seen Bubba Hotep, all right, Bruce Campbell as a senior-aged Elvis in a retirement home where an ancient mummy is feeding on the retirees in the retirement home, and they can only be stopped by Elvis Presley, the senior old Elvis Presley. It's amazing. Paul Giamatti's in it too, by the way. You got to watch Bubba Hotep. Thank you for letting me know about that. All right. Val Soto writes, My wife gave me permission to go to the John Campea Show party. Well, that's awesome. I don't know where you live. That might be a bit of a trek. But again, once I figure out the details of the 100 million view party, I will share them with everybody. And then once I get the ticket information together, I'll let everybody know how to get them, and we'll see how that goes. But that's awesome, Val. I hope to see you. All right, Massive Chata writes, thoughts on fan edits of movie, any legitimacy? No, there's zero legitimacy. Zero legitimacy. But as little side things, they can be fun. For instance, the anti-cheese edits of the prequels are a lot of fun to watch. There's absolutely no legitimacy to them. They are not real. They do not replace the actual canon or anything like that. But it's a fun little viewing thing. It's a fun little thing to watch. So I can enjoy some fan edits, but is there any legitimacy to them? No, absolutely not. No, even though I still can enjoy them, that doesn't mean there's anything legitimate to them. All right. Suthius writes, Dr. IT technician. Oh, I see. You normally see Asians as doctors, as an IT technician, or as a gang member. I see what you're saying. Thank you for clarifying. And you're right. Thank you for clarifying that. I appreciate that. Captain Chicken Pants writes, in your opinion, what do you consider to be a bigger overall achievement? A $1 to $5 million niche movie that makes 50 to 100 million worldwide, or a $150 to $200 million summer blockbuster that makes 6 to 700 million worldwide? The bigger achievement is the bigger film, regardless of how much it makes. However, that's not to underplay what an amazing achievement it is to make a film. Like, for instance, Blumhouse does this. Blumhouse, he reaches into his pocket, finds some spare change, and makes a motion picture out of that spare change. That then goes on to make $30 or $40 million. It's crazy. That's a great accomplishment. And that situation, that theoretical situation you just painted, a $1 to $5 million niche movie that makes 150, that's huge. Massive profit margin as well, all that kind of stuff. But I will still, to me, and this is a subjective question, but to me, the bigger overall accomplishment is still the movie that gets out there and worldwide makes 6 to 700 million dollars, and that many people to go to see it and all that kind of stuff. So, because no matter how much money you spend on a movie, you can't make people go to see it, right? It doesn't matter how much you spend on it. Look at Terminator, for heaven's sakes. Just because you spent a lot of money on it doesn't mean a lot of people are going to choose to go watch it. So if you can make a movie where 6 to 700 million worldwide go to see it, that's a great accomplishment. Great accomplishment. And so I'll lean that way. But there's arguments to be made on the other side as well. There are definitely arguments to be made on the other side as well. Lone Wolf X6 writes, do you like Nash Wells so far in Flash? I don't mind him so far. But really, we know so little about him right now that I can't really feel strongly one way or the other, but I'm with it so far. Fan of Peanuts writes, do you consider deleted scenes canon in Star Wars? No. If it didn't make it into the movie, it's not canon. I don't care what filmmakers say or whatever. To me, if it didn't actually play on screen in the movie, then to me, it's not canon. That's just my own personal take on it. Doesn't mean I'm right. It's just my personal take on it. Luke1234 writes, where do we go? There we go. You can have the Batman starring and directed by Affleck, but the next 3 Star Wars movies are the quality of the prequels. Do you pay the price? No. Nope. Too big of a price. I would pay a lot to have a Ben Affleck directed and starred Batman movie. I would pay a lot for that. Still very excited about the Matt Reeves one, by the way. That doesn't cast any shade on the Matt Reeves one at all. But yeah, I would love that, but no, not willing to pay that price. Not willing to pay that price at all. I can't live through that nightmare again. All right, Suthius writes, love Cabins in the Wood. Love the direction it took. I'm not the biggest fan of Cabin in the Woods, but it is a cult favorite. And, it's one of those films that, one of the great, legends of the movies that Joss Whedon and the other guy who wrote the script, they basically wrote the script in a weekend. They got themselves away somewhere and basically cobbled the script together in a weekend, which is amazing. Paul Nolan writes, Jojo and Parasite will have to be to best movie of 2020 for me. LOL, not released till next. Oh, I see what you're saying. Will not be released till next year in Ireland. Deserve release at the same time. Yeah, so you're right. I mean, technically, you're absolutely right, Paul. So if the movie comes out for you in 2020, it'll be a question about whether they're among the best movies of the year for 2020. for you in particular. Listen, this question of when do movies get released and all this kind of stuff, and should they be released at the same time? I advocate for a global release date for movies. That's what I advocate for. But I still understand why they don't. Because just because the best time to release this movie in this country, for marketing wise and everything, that doesn't necessarily mean it's the best time to release it in Ireland. Maybe this movie will do better in Ireland if we opened it at this time. And so they kind of play this game, and I get it. I do. So while I advocate personally for a one global release date mentality, I do understand the counter arguments to it, and it's a tricky one, and for every film it's a little bit different. All right, Third Man 3 writes, could one of the problems be that they tried to make these Star Wars films too big? The original trilogy and PT were actually small stories based around a few characters. I don't know about that. I mean, look, with the original Star Wars, I mean, you could make the argument that The Force Awakens is based on a smaller set with galactic level implications. That's exactly what the first Star Wars movie is. Small set of characters with galactic implications. I mean, hell, they blew up a planet. And that one with billions of people dying, right? I don't think so. Honestly, I don't think there's a lot of problems with the new trilogy of films, to be honest with you. I have some issues with the Last Jedi, but I still like that film. So no, I don't see that as one of the issues, to be honest with you. All right. Matthew Rodriguez writes, thoughts on Loose 2019 with Octavia Spencer. Did not see it, so I can't comment on it. Jason Davis writes, what are your opinions on Watchmen thus far, and do you think we'd see the same response if victims of slavery got reparations? I'm not getting into any political talk whatsoever. All I will say is that I'm enjoying Watchmen so far. I am enjoying Watchmen so far very much. I'm curious. Look, but it's still at a place after 3 episodes. It's at a place that could still go either way, right? It could break very bad. I mean, what they're setting up, this show could get really bad really fast. Or it could break really well and get really good really fast. So far, I'm with them. I'm with them so far, and I'm digging what they're setting up. Now it's just going to be see what do they do with this thing they've now set up. So I'm going to be curious to see that. Suthius writes, Alien Covenant sequel still greenlit? I want it. I don't think so. We'll see. I'm not sure, but I don't think so. Captain Chicken Pants writes, you said recently that you tend not to watch movies on the go, example, tablet, phone, example. For someone who is such an advocate of digital purchasing, do you not feel that you are not taking full advantage? No. Why? Okay, you got to understand, too. I am not on a city bus every day. Look, if I was commuting to work every day and I was going to be on a city bus, well, then, yeah, I might pop on a show on my digital screen, on my tablet or on my phone. But I'm not, right? So I work from home. So yeah. So I don't know. So like, for example, when I do fly, I take flights a couple times a year. When I fly, I absolutely watch something on my tablet. Absolutely do. But I don't exactly, I'm not going to put on a movie when I'm driving a car. I'm not going to do that. I know some people that do that. That's stupid. You're asking to kill somebody doing that. But I'm not one who really does that. And by the way, I also wouldn't, like if I'm taking a plane back home and I don't know, there's this Mandalorian came out. And Mandalorian came out as I was at the airport, and it's now available for me to watch on the flight. So it's December 12th. Mandalorian just became available. I'm not watching it on my phone, and I'm not going to watch it on my tablet. So there are some things that I'm just going to be, no. I'll wait till I can get in front of a proper 60-inch TV and watch it properly. But then there will be others that, yeah, hey, go back, watch The 40-Year-Old Virgin again. Yeah, go back and watch Deadpool 2 again. Yeah, I can definitely do that. It's just that I don't have a lot of opportunity to do it, and definitely things I'm really looking forward to that I've never seen before. I don't want my first experience with those to be on a tablet or a phone. That's just me. So that's my thoughts on that. All right, guys, that will do it for today's installment of Open Mic. Thank you guys so much for being here and being a part of that. And guys, special thank you to all of you who sent in questions, not just because you gave us great fun things to talk about, but also because you supported the channel along the way. And I appreciate that. And thank you for that very, very much. All right, guys, don't forget that the John Campea Show returns again on Monday. That'll be me and Robert Meyer Burnett. We hope to see you guys there. And of course, on Tuesday, the next installment, the next episode of Dark Side, Light Side with me and Christian Harloff. And then on Wednesday, the next episode of me and Robert Meyer Burnett on The Weekly Hero. And of course, every day, Monday through Friday next week is the John Campea Show. Lots of stuff going on. Hope that you guys will be a part of it. Anyway, guys, I hope you all have a magnificent rest of your weekend. May it be relaxing and fun-filled and everything that you need it to be. And I will look forward to seeing you guys again on Monday. So that'll do it for me for now, guys. Thanks a lot for being here. My name is John Campea, and until next time, bye-bye.